This is Chapter 3 of ReBirth, The Spiral of Remembering, written and narrated by Brittany Danielle. Science as religion, history as fiction. Science was never meant to be a belief system. It was meant to be a method, a way of observing, testing, questioning, and refining our understanding of reality. But a method can become a framework, and a framework can become fixed. Modern science, as it is commonly practiced and culturally understood, operates largely within a materialist model, the assumption that reality is fundamentally physical, that consciousness is produced by the brain, and that what cannot yet be measured is often treated as secondary or suspect. Within that model, humanity has made extraordinary progress. Biology, chemistry, physics, medicine, engineering, these achievements are real. They matter. But not everything aligns neatly inside that structure. Consciousness remains unresolved. Not just how the brain functions, but why awareness exists at all. The hard problem of consciousness is still open. Subjective experience cannot be fully reduced to neural activity. Intuition, dreaming, inner vision, altered states, meaningful synchronicity. These are not fringe experiences in the human story. They are recurring features of it. And yet, they remain only partially integrated. Not because they are unimportant, but because they challenge the foundation the model is built on. And this is where the shift happens. A framework designed to explore reality begins to define its limits. What can be measured is prioritized. What cannot yet be measured is often minimized or pushed aside. Not always out of arrogance, often out of structure, out of continuity. Over time, that continuity starts to resemble certainty. And that is how a method, slowly and unintentionally, begins to function like doctrine. I did not come to this conclusion from theory alone. I came to it by living through the gaps. I wasn't raised inside one worldview. I was raised inside two. Part of my childhood was spent at my grandparents' house. My grandfather was a Pentecostal reverend. That environment allowed for the unseen, for presence, for something beyond the physical. But even there, experience was interpreted through a specific lens. The other part of my life looked very different. I lived with my father and stepmother, and that environment was unstable, at times abusive. So from a young age, I wasn't just navigating belief systems, I was navigating environments. At my grandparents' house, I sensed things I couldn't explain. A presence, a feeling of being watched. And I wasn't the only one. There were shared experiences, objects moving, figures seen when no one was inside, more than once. That matters. Because it wasn't just imagination, it was pattern. Outside of that house, the sensitivity didn't disappear. It changed. It moved inward, into my dreams. I was a vivid dreamer. Recurring nightmares, emotionally intense experiences that stayed with me long after I woke up. They were explained away, reduced, but they didn't feel random. They followed patterns, themes repeated, emotions carried through. There was continuity, like something was being processed beneath the surface. Science can measure sleep, but it cannot fully explain why dreams feel meaningful. That gap matters because it reveals something important, the difference between measuring something and understanding it. As I moved into adulthood, my life shifted. I got engaged at 17, married at 18, moved into our own home, and with that shift, my curiosity deepened. I had always been drawn to the supernatural, not for fantasy, for understanding. So I went deeper into Christianity, not casually, devoutly. And over time, people began gathering in our home. At first a few, then more, then many. Some we knew, some we didn't. It happened organically. We didn't set out to build anything, but something formed. We developed a rhythm, music first, about 30 minutes, sound, stillness, and something would shift. People would settle into a different state, more present, more open, more connected. Then we would talk, reflect, share, and then we would pray, and things happened. People experienced physical healing, emotional release, something surfacing from within them. At the time, we had a framework for it. We called it God. We called it demonic. But over time, those labels stopped being enough, because what I was witnessing didn't feel limited to one system. It felt deeper, more fundamental. People entering altered states, releasing something held in the body, receiving insight, perceiving things they had no logical way of knowing. I started experiencing what we called words of knowledge, information arriving without a clear path, not guessed, not reasoned, received. I began having inner visions, not imagination, not daydreaming, something structured, something intentional. And outside of those gatherings, similar things would happen, in quiet moments, in the shower, listening to music, entering a calm inward state. Insights would just arrive. And this is where something shifted. These experiences weren't unique to Christianity. They existed everywhere, across cultures, across traditions, across time. The framework didn't create them, it interpreted them. And once I saw that, the framework began to fall away. Not all at once, gradually. Between my mid to late 20s, I began to deconstruct, letting go of rigid explanations, while still holding on to the deeper connection I had always felt. I didn't leave what I once called God. I left the structure that claimed to contain it. From that point forward, I stopped identifying with any single system. Not because I rejected spirituality, but because I started seeing patterns across all of them, and I wanted to understand those patterns directly. So I explored, observed, compared, not searching for belief, searching for coherence. Around that same time, my life was shifting in deeper ways. My grandmother passed away in 2018. She had been the only maternal figure I had truly connected to and felt a sense of safety with, even though that relationship carried its own complexities. My marriage ended. Another relationship began. Everything was unraveling and rebuilding at the same time. And like I had always done, I went inward, not to escape, to understand. Then came the summer of 2024. That was my first direct orb experience. We were outside in the backyard, me, John, and Titus, just being together, present, connected. I was looking up at the sky the way I often do, not searching, just observing. And I saw it, a single orb, far out in the distance, clear enough to grab my full attention. At the time, I questioned it. Maybe a satellite, something explainable. But internally, it didn't feel like that. Not as belief, as a quiet knowing I couldn't explain yet. Still, because it was only one, I let it go. But it didn't leave. Looking back now, it feels like a precursor, a quiet beginning, something that appeared before I understood what was unfolding. Then came the fall and the winter. The world itself started talking about anomalies in the sky. UAP, drones, unexplained movement. And that made me pay attention. I started researching, looking into patterns, looking into other experiencers, looking into history. And during that same time, my father had moved into the home. The environment became heavier, more intense, more compressed, and that pressure pushed me inward again, deeper than before. And then, in the spring of 2025, the experiences returned, but this time, they didn't fade. They became more frequent, more direct, more observable. Through the summer, they intensified. Daytime, nighttime, not as a single strange event, but as something ongoing, something that could be watched, tracked, studied. And they have remained present even now, not constant, but consistent. And that distinction matters because it moves the experience out of coincidence and into something that can be observed over time, because it allows observation instead of assumption. I documented everything, tracked behavior, analyzed what I was seeing, compared it with others, and what emerged was pattern, not random, not isolated, pattern. Consistent movement, repeated behavior, similar experiences across people who had never met. And what became clear is that this wasn't just happening to me. It was personal and collective. And that matters, because the point is not that I had experiences. The point is that many people are having experiences that do not fit neatly inside the accepted model. And our reflex is to dismiss them, not to study them, not to stay curious, to dismiss them. And that's the issue. These experiences are not rare. What's rare is a framework willing to engage with them honestly. The issue is not whether they fit the model. It's that the model is treated as complete, so what falls outside it gets minimized, explained away, categorized too quickly, or ignored altogether. And that's where science stops being a method and begins to function like doctrine. History reflects the same pattern. We're given a clean story, primitive to advanced. But the deeper you look, the story fractures. Göbekli Tepe, Giza, Nazca, the Antikythera mechanism. Evidence that doesn't fit the timeline we were given. Across the world, ancient sites show alignment, precision, mathematics, symbolic continuity. And yet, they're treated as isolated, instead of recognized as pattern. At the same time, oral traditions across cultures describe contact, cycles, connection between consciousness and cosmos, and those too are reduced, labeled mythology, instead of explored. Not necessarily hidden, but not fully integrated, filtered, fragmented, contained. And this is where history starts to resemble fiction. Not because nothing is true, but because the story has been narrowed, simplified, made easier to manage. A civilization can tolerate isolated mystery. It struggles to tolerate patterns that reorganize its identity. And patterns do repeat. Across civilizations, across symbols, across myths, across lived human experience. At some point, dismissal requires more belief than investigation. And the question shifts. Not, is this real? But, why is this still at the margins? At some point, something changed in human development. We became aware. Ancient traditions describe connection beyond the individual. Modern frameworks hesitate to fully engage with that. For me, this isn't theoretical. It aligns with lived experience and with patterns observed across time. That doesn't require certainty, but it does require openness. Because if science is incomplete, then our understanding of reality is incomplete. And if history is incomplete, then our understanding of ourselves is incomplete. And that changes everything. We are not just observers. We are participants. Every meaningful shift in understanding begins the same way, with something that doesn't fit, something dismissed, something that remains. And once you begin to notice that, you start to see it everywhere, across systems, across cultures, across time. The same patterns repeating, waiting to be recognized. And once you begin to see the patterns, they don't stop. They expand across your life, across history, across time itself. What once felt separate starts to connect. And when it does, you realize something. This was never random. It was always a pattern. And that's where we go next.